So here, the React team don't recommend using useEffect. Effects don't run on the server, that fetching in effects creates network waterfalls, that you can't preload and cache data with an effect, and so on. So these are the main downsides that the React team specifies when using the useEffect hook for data fetching. The first one is not being rendered on the server, and this means that all the JavaScript for your component will need to be loaded before the data fetching can start if useEffect is used. Network waterfalls means that if you have nested components that need to fetch data, fetching will happen one after the other, meaning the deepest nested component will have to wait for the parent to start fetching data before it can start, which is really unnecessary if it doesn't depend on the parent's data in the first place. Next is no preloading or caching, which again means you can't start fetching data before the component is rendered. And also, if a user renders the same component multiple times, like a blog homepage, for example, then the data will be fetched each and every time, which is really not needed if the data hasn't changed. Now, there are way more downsides to using the useEffect hook for data fetching. Now, let's highlight why this is more of an issue in React compared to other libraries and frameworks. React has a very specific way of updating and re-rendering components. Now, the purpose of this video isn't to talk about the virtual DOM or how React renders, but I'm just going to explain a bit more about re-rendering to highlight why it's such a bad idea to put data fetching in a useEffect hook. So let's explain how React re-renders by using an example of buying a hot dog from a food stand. Let's imagine you were going to buy a hot dog from a food stand. The hot dog arrives and it doesn't have any condiments, but you later realize that you want some ketchup on your hot dog. So you tell the seller, and what they do is they throw the old hot dog away, so in the bin or in the trash, and they give you a new one with ketchup on it. Nice. But then you realize you want some mustard. So you tell the seller, and what they do, weirdly enough, is they grab the old hot dog with the ketchup and throw it in the bin and give you a new one with ketchup and mustard. Cool. But then you realize you want ketchup, mustard, and onions. So you tell the seller, and what they do is they grab the old hot dog with ketchup and mustard and throw it in the bin and give you a brand new one with ketchup, mustard, and onions. Now, you have to admit, that's a really odd way of doing things. Why not just add ketchup, mustard, and onions to the hot dog you already have? This is how React works. Each time a component updates, it throws away the old component and creates a new one with the new update. Because a useEffect will run after a component has updated, and a component will update whenever a state, prop, or parent component changes, you could get into a situation where you're fetching data multiple times unnecessarily, and you could even cause an infinite loop. However, if you're more experienced with React, you'll know that this can be addressed with a dependency array or React memo, but this doesn't fix all the issues. So how does the React team suggest solving this? Well, they say use a framework like Next.js, Remix, or Gatsby. Or if you want to fetch data for a client-side app, then use a library like Tanstack Query, useSWR, or React Router. Now, these are really good alternatives, but depending on what you're working on, you may not be able to use them.
If you want to keep learning about how to build real-world apps with the latest technologies and other career-related topics, then start right now by subscribing to our channel and liking this video.